All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's always Brush that's holding everything back. So hey, welcome. I'm not sure, Damaris, is this the second or the third time? I know we had to take a break last year. Is this the third annual roundtable? That's what I was thinking. So I've seen some faces return. I see some new faces, which always makes it interesting. A few couldn't be with us tonight that will be here on Saturday. So between now and Saturday, we're going to get the whole ladies season up, rolling, get the excitement going. And so we thank you here at Brush on behalf of Damaris for being a big part of this. I think ladies hoops are some of the funnest, one of the funnest sports to watch. I really do. The fundamentals and the spirit and everything they bring to it, the teamwork. So, and we'll hear from each of you. I'm going to ask a couple different kinds of questions, just depending on how quickly that goes. Don't feel, like you're being interviewed. Don't feel like, you're on the spot. Talk as long or as little as you like. But I thought the first thing we could do is kind of go from right to left. And if you could just introduce, because we are on the screen, introduce you, the school, and then we'll come back down the row.
Sounds great. Kevin McNamara, Trinity High School.
Lisa Stopp, Cornerstone Christian Academy.
Vanetta Kreider, John Hay.
Karen Battle, Cleveland Heights.
Erica Jones, Shaw High School.
James Hershowski, Menor High School.
Eugene White, Richmond Heights.
Milberg Senior, the Lutheran East High School.
Damaris Winters, Brush High School.
Ted Wagner, Madison High School.
And I'm Paul Force from Eastlake North High School.
All right. Well, thank you again, one and all. Appreciate you coming out here. And I think the way I'd like to start things off is sort of the X's and O's part, the basketball part. Of course, you guys are all, experts in that. And Coach McNamara, if you wouldn't mind, and I'll just try to, kind of let it go down the row so everybody can be prepared. I don't want to go random and have you guys all, so that wouldn't be fair. So yeah, we're going to do that, and for the mic as well. That way it can just keep going kind of orderly. So if you can kind of, give us a feel for what you're looking forward to this year, the prospects, what you see in your team, significant losses, gains, key games, those type of things. So give us a look at what, basketball is going to be like for you this year.
Yeah, at Trinity we return, a variation of 6 starters, all start at different times throughout the year. We return close to 50 points a game. Our speed and athleticism is going to lead our charge. We have a couple key players who return for us, and Mahogany Cottingham, who is a junior, early on should score her 1,000-point. Mahogany will average 20-some a game, easy. Maria Stanley's 6'2" post, but Maria led our team in 3-point shooting last year. So at 6'2", when you get a mismatch like her, that can step outside and shoot it, we feel pretty fortunate in some of those matchups as well. We play in the CVC, and we've tried to upgrade as much as we could to our schedule this year. We've added, some of the games that I'm looking forward to, or probably the most I'm looking forward to is against my good friend Damaris and the Brush Arcs. We get to come in here and have some fun, and I'm sure the banter on the sidelines will be just as good as the the stuff on the game. And we've been doing this a long time and respect each other and know. But for us, adding Brush, Shelby, Gilmore, and I know I'm missing a couple teams on our non-conference because we get 6 non-conference. So we've tried to significantly upgrade to prepare ourselves for the tournament.
We spent a lot of time this summer trying to get Coach Winters to come out of his shell. He's starting to come around a little bit. Wallflower, so
it's tough, man.
But yeah, he's getting a little more vocal down there. So, hey, I had to. Sorry. Coach Stopp, how about you? Yeah. You've had some losses, including your daughter from last year and then the twins the year before. So constantly rebuilding, right? So how's it looking for the Patriots this year?
Well, we have a lot of turnover in talent, obviously, a lot of new faces. Losing the 3 starters from last year, Riley being All-State, Aislinn Hurst going to Lake Erie, Division II. The Clooney Twins and Kaylee Tynaw played Division II the year before that. It's a different group. Inexperience is the first word that comes to my mind. Young is goes hand in hand. Losing those three on a team, you know, we don't have big numbers at Cornerstone, so I have 11 kids this year. 2 really have never played basketball. I welcome that. We have to welcome that, so we have 10 players to go up and down. And I've got a great coaching staff that kind of builds into those kids, and it's really fun to watch a kid that's never played the game. But it's humbling at the same time. This is a program that 2 years ago we were getting, you know, couldn't play because of COVID on the state for the state semis. Humbling, but yet I'm still here. You know, I know a lot of people. I've heard a lot of rumors. Oh, Coach Stott will leave, you know, after her daughter leaves. I love this game. And anybody that says that doesn't know me. And I love making a difference in kids' life, and that's what we're doing right now. We lost those 3 players, the 3 senior starters, but we lost 2, the elephant in the room. We lost 2 kids, you know, it transferred out. I lost a senior, transfers to Kirtland. I lost Serena Johnson, you know, transfers. That's hard when you just have, and I know, private schools, we've all been there, but I feel like we kind of been socked in the gut a couple times, and it's not just the coaching staff, but the kids, and it's so fun to see how that's made us stronger. So these kids are coming in the gym. They put such a good summer in, and the coaches did too. I'm just so proud of my staff, but I think what we're going to look like is we're going to look like Cornerstone on one side of the ball. I think defensively, that's what I'm telling the kids, control the controllables. We're going to show hard on screens. We're going to have our hands up. We're going to be talking, and we're so athletic. We're young. We'll make mistakes, but I think you're going to see Cornerstone look like Cornerstone on one side of the ball. However, when that transitions, there's a big unknown there. And right now, we're trying to work through those weaknesses, and there's a lot there. But I'm excited. I told the kids today when I was leaving, I said, you know what? I'm just as excited walking to this coaching panel today. You probably could hear it in my voice. And I teared up with them. I'm like, I love coaching these kids. They're coachable, they're pliable, and they put a really good summer in. So I'm kind of excited to see what the Lord's going to do there. That's who we are at Cornerstone, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how we go against the schedule. It's changed. We're not playing Berlin Highland or opening up with the Larry Catholic anymore. But we have some neat teams on the schedule, especially at the end of the season. I know we have East Lake North near the end. We have Riverside. We have NDCL put a licking on us last year that was just, you know, hard to believe. So that we have a chance to see what we can do. HB, and then a whole bunch of great teams and great coaches that are coached well in between.
So with some of those losses, will you look to play a different brand of ball? Or, I mean, do you have a system that you try to teach year after year? Or kind of like, you know, mold it to who you have in that given season?
That's a great question. I think the staple of who we are, at least I'd like to hope that's what we project, is we're a great defensive team. And so that should be the same. However, I think that we need to use it where before we didn't. We could be a pretty good quarter court game or half court game. But we have to have that be a catalyst for easy buckets for us, I believe, for us to be successful. So we need to work on what that looks like playing 94 feet. And we haven't had a lot of kids that practice all the time, and it's tough when the numbers are low. But yeah, it should be exciting. And I'm just looking forward to the opportunity of just coaching these young ladies that just want to learn, hungry to learn.
Awesome.
So, yeah, thank you.
So what's going on at John Hay this year? How do you see things playing out, Coach? Maybe point out some of the ladies who are going to have to shoulder most of the load, or do you have a pretty equal team all the way through?
We're very excited to play. We didn't get to play at all last year, so the girls are very excited. I believe this year we will have one of the best backcourts in NEO this year with senior Elena Johnson and Amara Hart, and we surround them with shooters, Tamara Phillips and Kyla with Newell. Yeah, correct. Our front court will be big and aggressive. We'll have 3 6-footers this year in the paint.
Wow.
I'm very excited about junior Zanaya Irvin and Jada Harrison. This hustle, they play their butts off. And they're just excited to make a name for themselves, because when people think of John Hay, they think of Amaya Maxey. And she's no longer there. So it's going to be more of a balanced game this year.
Okay. How do you, I'm curious, because you didn't get to play last year, how do you keep the motivation and, you know, the pride up and all of that because it's not like you just had an off season. You had like a full year away. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they played here and there, but how do you keep them galvanized toward the same goals?
Doing stuff outside of basketball.
Okay.
You know, bonding, chemistry, little trips, to the zoo, whatever we can do just to be around each other.
Sure.
And we embody our philosophy is the forgotten. And we feel like, Cindy was forgotten last year. We feel like everybody forgot about us, and we're just ready to play.
Awesome. Coach, one of our neighbors down the road to the west, we've got them both here actually with Lutheran East, but how are you looking? How are you feeling about things? It's a little bit early yet, but at the same time, you probably have an idea of how you want things to roll for the Tigers.
Yeah, we'll be a very young team. I have 10th graders that are looking to get, quality minutes on varsity. I have 2 incoming freshmen that are looking to break it. I only have 1 junior that's actually a returner and a consistent starter for me. So we'll be young. Our biggest goal this year is to not allow other teams to beat us, because a lot of times, even last year, we had a lopsided season as far as wins and losses, which was our first time in a while. We beat ourselves in a lot of those games. So the girls are really looking forward to getting together, building that camaraderie, having a good time. Same thing as John Hay, doing stuff outside of the court because they are young. Going to Friday night, the boys are playing in the playoffs, so go to the football game, go out to eat, go hang out at the mall, just doing stuff outside of the lines so that they can get to know themselves and get to know each other. Because when your back is against the wall, it comes down to who's on your right and who's on your left. I always tell them, you can turn your back on me, but you never turn your back on your sister. And with that, anything that we do beyond the court is going to help us excel throughout the year. So we're excited to get out there. They're hungry. It'll take us back to some of our defensive principles, because offensively, everyone will be equally important. This year we don't have any big wigs really coming back that's double-digit scorers. So everyone is going to have to definitely rely on someone else to get the bucket.
Gotcha. Okay. And Shaw, one of 2 Cardinals sitting right next to each other. How about that? That wasn't planned. So, Coach, how are you feeling about things as we get toward the end of October here, and then November's the month for a lot of people to get going. So, how do you feel at this stage of the game?
After last year being my first year at Shaw, I feel like it's still a building process. Coaching in East Cleveland is definitely different, especially coming from Lutheran East. It was a lot more green light versus where I'm at now. But I'm just ready to put in the work. I do have 5 returning seniors, but again, seniors that, didn't get the work in that they should have gotten in 9th and 10th grade year. So it's still a building process. I do have a couple players that I'm expecting big things from. Losing my point guard was big because I didn't really have a backup point guard. So again, it's just a building process for us. But as every season, I'm ready to go.
Offensively, do you look to, engage in a lot of fast breaking? Are you more of a, half-court offense, set offense? What do you like to play?
Last year, we had to do a lot of half-court offense. I got a big girl who, again, she's one of the players I'm expecting big things from. I'm not taking anything less than a double-double from her. But on the plus side, I do have a big that transferred back to Shaw that I'm looking forward to some good things from her. And a potential player that I actually had at Lutheran East when I was there. So she's a senior as well. So I'm looking at possibly 3 6-footers as well.
Wow.
So that'll be different because last year I had to go everything through my one big. So to be able to rotate her out and not kill her when she's dead tired, and yell at her when she's dying on the floor like, no, suck it up. Now I have players that I can rotate in for. So just looking forward to really want to switch it up. I would like to run a lot of fast break this year, but, I got to work with what I have, so.
Gotcha. Out to Lake County we go. So, Menor, what's going on in the land of the Cardinals out that way?
First off, we lost 3 seniors last year, and we have 7 seniors this year. So it's a large senior class, and we're excited about that. 3 of them are returning starters, and we had a really good summer. The biggest focus this summer was getting back in the gym. I felt like we were one of the more athletic teams on the court night in, night out. but our skills kind of lacked, and that was kind of the reason why we weren't getting the results that we wanted to see. And so the message and the focus was building up those skills this off season. And the girls really took that to heart, and I thought our summer went really well. But we also had we only played 15 games last year. We didn't start until after New Year's. So with having all those juniors last year, we kind of lost some opportunities of getting in the gym and working on those skills. So we really made an effort this summer to do that. So I was proud of our girls for that. We do have one transfer coming in from Steubenville, Kylie Maxwell, 6-footer. She started there, averaged 14 points a game. So we're excited to add some depth with her this year. And as far as some other incoming young ones, we have Izzy Cood, who's a sophomore, who's going to be looking to get her first varsity minutes this year. But as far as our senior class, Bella Carciopolo is my point guard since she's a freshman. So it's exciting to kind of see it all the way through, and she's doing really well this first couple days. Average 11 points a game. She just hustles all over the floor. And she's looking to play next year somewhere, and she's got a couple D3, D2 schools talking to her, so she doesn't know where she's playing yet, but we anticipate her playing next year. Sophia Carrasca, another senior, had a charge and a half a game last year. It was just a defensive, nasty, but also aggressive girl on the defensive side of things. But her shot this summer has really improved, so we're excited to see some offensive improvement from her. And Ella Biondi and Morgan Holmes are going to be our posts this year, filling in for Brooke Hickman, who went to Edinburgh this year. So we're excited to kind of see, they had to kind of wait their turn with her being in the post last year. So excited to see what our posts do to kind of fill that role.
And
as far as our schedule, we play in the GCC and Solon, Euclid, Medina, Brunswick, Strongsville. It's night in, night out. It's a battle. So we know that as well, and trying to prepare for that.
So that's where I was going next. You read my mind. That's a tough schedule, a tough conference to be a part of. Are there a couple of key games, though, that, not that you overlook the other ones, but it's like, wow, we really got to be on our A game for this?
Well, our biggest focus is to win the GCC. I mean, that's one of our first and main goals. It's a very tough conference. We feel that there's a lot of bragging rights to any team that wins that conference in Northeast Ohio. So a lot of pride in that goal. That's one of our main ones. We know that Solon's going to be young, but they have a lot of returning. Haley Weaver left last year for Northwestern, but they're going to be tough again with some of the sophomores and juniors that have been playing last 2 years. Medina lost 5 seniors who some of their top scorers there, but they're always reloading, so we know that they'll be tough. Strongsville, lost one of the 5 or 6 Bass sisters that are in Medina or in Strongsville. I know there's a couple more coming up, but so it's just those are kind of the key ones that we know about. But Brunswick, we know that they've got some young talent coming up too. So we really don't have a specific one because we know every night's a battle. But our non-conference schedule, we got a lot of the WRC teams with Eastlake North and Chardon, Mayfield, and then coming to the Invitational that Coach put together here at Brush. We're excited about that. We're going to be playing against Laurel. So we're going to have a nice, tough non-conference schedule too.
Absolutely. And now Coach White, I think it'd be fair to say that change has been a big factor since last year.
Yes.
Not only your daughter Kayla was a starting point guard for Brush, and she's moved on,
Yes.
and you've also moved on because
Yes.
you've changed positions. Tell us a little bit about that and about what you foresee for this year.
When you say trust the process, we believe that at Richmond. We believe our goal at Richmond is, we're trying to change the culture. We have some good young ladies, which is, we're very young. We bring back 3 young ladies who played last year. Two of them are sophomores, Anthony's Darton and Cherry Maxwell. Cherry, they have a lot of potential. Anthony's Darton is probably one of the most athletic kids around. We continue to work with her every day. We have one junior. We have a junior, Elon Johnson, and we have one senior, Shamaya Jackson. We have a freshman that's going to be very good, Maya Johnson. If you really listen to those names, we're basically we're like a sister team. We have 2 or 3. We have like 3 sets of sisters on the team. So it's a lot easier when you just call one. You can they just communicate within each other. We're just really excited. Just play hard. You know, my goal always is to be able to hold teams down to 45 points.
Gotcha.
Are we going to be able to do that against Trinity? We don't know, but we're going to give everything we got. We play in the CVC. We have got teams like Trinity. You have teams like Independence. So we're just excited to be. First of all, we're excited to be able to have some home games. We've been on the road for the last 2 years, so we're excited to be able to have a home game on November 19th against Orange, with a lot of excitement. But we're, like I said, let's trust the process. We're very young. We're very excited. They come to practice every day, hungry, ready to learn. But I will say that it's different. I love the fact that we can leave practice with a voice and without a headache. So those are two things that I love the most. You know, and this just overall this past year has taught me a lot of things that we have to build character within each other. We have to build friendships within each other, because the more you love playing with each other, the easier it is to win. The easier it is to teach. So we're really excited about that. And like I said, our biggest thing is just change the culture. If we can change the culture, that's something big. Probably within the last 4 or 5 years, Richmond hasn't had a middle school team. So we're so excited to be able to say that we're going to have a middle school team. We have an 8th grader that we're really, really excited about. I know it's kind of early to start talking about her, but we're really excited about her. And I think some of the other 8th graders that we have, they're going to help turn our program around to the point where we can eventually have a JV team and continue to build on our varsity level. You know, like I said, we only have one senior. So we think for the next 2 or 3 years, we'll be right where we need to be at. Competitive, play hard, and just trust the process.
And I think you brought up something really important. Not having a home game for 2 years, I think there has to be at least some kind of mental aspect to that, like, hey, we're not always jumping on a bus to play our games, you know. And then whatever you can feed off with the crowd, I got to think that that's going to be a positive for you guys, and maybe bring a couple more W's than might have been the case. So
I think our girls are just excited to be able to put a home uniform on, brand new home uniform. So they haven't put a home uniform on in 2 years. So we're excited about that. And we know if we just do it, we play hard defensively, we'll sneak a win out. We may get lucky against Trinity. You never know. But we also have some tough games coming up. We play Cornerstone. You know, we know they're going to be very, very well coached team. We have Euclid, that's non-conference. You have Independence, who's pretty tough every year. We play Shaw, who's going to be tough for us. We play, who else we have? We have Andrew Osborne, who has a great coach. This will be her 2nd year there. Central Catholic alumni, so we truly love her. But we have it's going to be a competitive for us every night. But that's the whole beauty of it, to play teams that's going to make you work, that's going to make you want to get better, and we have the kids that want to do that. We have a sophomore who's coming in this year. She's transferred in, and she's about 6'1". So we're excited about her and the prospects that she's going to bring.
And I promise that these two are not plotting against you down here in the corner for your future meetings, of course.
Yes, I can see it. I can see John Hay. We actually got John Hay this upcoming year. So we got three out of the first 3 coaches down there real early in the season. So
had nothing to do with it.
We just gonna try to be very vanilla this upcoming weekend and just play hard.
All right, sounds good. Coach, over at the Lou, as you described it, you've been around this game a long time. You've been around preseasons and such. So what's your assessment as we tackle the 2021 season?
The first thing is to be happy to be able to play a full season because of last year's situation. But I was at the Lou already in 2007, 8, 9, and 10. Had a real united team. So it is good to be back. The Senate is tough. I was at East Tech for all those years. Like people were saying, you got to go through a lot situationally with just the environment and the equipment needs. So all of that is a plus. But we have about 9 or 10 United Young Ladies. Our seniors are Tamia Gorham and Coach Ron Donaldson's daughter, Amaya Donaldson. Those two seniors are playing hard, leading by example. Maya has about 3 Division II offers just by coming over the summer. Our guard play is real strong with Aliana Robinson, Janiyah Speedy Harris. We have Taylor Haynes. A couple of players, Tamia and Akayla Overby can play a little bit of the wing, a little bit of the 2. Our freshmen are surprising. We have a 5'8", 5'9" freshman, Danasia Woodard, and a 6'2" freshman, Shanae Igbiway. She's 6'2". She's learning, but she's learning quick. Nice size on her. One of our juniors that transferred, Serena Johnson, is not healthy yet, but she's working with our training staff to get better. Our schedule is very tough. We start out at the Cleveland Heights tournament against St. Joe Academy, Notre Dame, Cathedral Latin. We play Holden twice, once at home, once away. We go to Detroit to play a team called Frankenmuth, and then Detroit Renaissance High School tournament. We're at we play Warrensville and Sonny Johnson's NEO Christmas Classic. We play Canton Glen Oak. We go to Cincinnati for a 3-day tournament. Come back home, gotta play Gilmore, gotta play my brother right here, gotta play Brush. We're at Central Catholic. We go to Afrocentric, not to play them, but we're playing Columbus Beechcroft and the Nubian Classic in Columbus. Come back home, got to play Camp McKinley, Westlake, Lutheran West, and Holborn again.
Wow. That's a meat grinder for sure.
But it is. But like I said before, not playing a full season and coming with a team that's kind of deep, fairly deep, 9 or 10 players. That was something that we're looking forward to doing.
All right.
We'll see soon.
Probably be ready for the playoffs, I would think, with a schedule of that magnitude. Coach Winters, so here we are in the land of Arc Nation.
All right.
And you always have an up-tempo team, or at least that I've seen. They are aggressive on defense and offense. Are we looking at the same thing this season?
Absolutely. Exactly the same. It would change if I had a different set of young ladies, but I've had these same young ladies for the last. I started them off as freshmen, and they're coming right on through. So they're ready to go. We're ready to go. We had a great summer. Our summer consisted of a lot of AAU ball with our top girls, Asia Nicholson and Danae Frazier, who they're both going to Alabama A&M, Division I scholarships. Both of my bigs, they play all Ohio, which is a tough tough Nike schedule in the summertime. Brooklyn Vickers, who's our starting point guard, who took over for Kayla White. She started some games for us last year alongside Kayla as well. This kid can play. She's big time. She played all summer. She plays for SMAC. And Taylor Johnson Matthews, who may be our best player. She's healthy. She was injured 2 years ago. She was healthy last year, averaged about 14 and 10 last year. She could play inside, outside. She played big on the Adidas circuit this summer as far as AU is concerned. So those 4 players are our top players. They've been playing great ball in the summertime, coming in healthy, which I'm very proud of that. Since when they were on the circuit and they were playing, our other girls were in the gym with us 1-2 days a week with my staff getting in when we could get in, and they got better. We were not as deep as last year. Last year was the deepest team I've ever had in maybe 9 years of coaching. We were top to bottom just loaded last year. We sent 4 girls off. Our 4 seniors are now playing basketball elsewhere. You know, Kayla White's at Bethune-Cookman. Jana Henderson's playing. Destiny White is playing, and Alex Hall is playing. So we sent them off. They're off. Those other 3 are playing Division II ball. One Division III. One is playing Division III. So we've been lucky to have some good girls here for the last couple of years. I think even though we're not as deep as we once were last year, we are a very solid team. I mean, these girls can play. They've been playing together for a long time. Even Brooklyn Vickers, when she was younger, she would come up to the gym and see what's going on. She knows my system. I'm really, really proud of how she has stepped in and taken our program over at the point guard position. She's truly a coach on the court and doing the things I need her to do as an extension of myself on that court, as young as she is. Some other players who are really good, who could probably start elsewhere. That's a big time problem that we had last year. I had starters on the bench. It's only 32 minutes. You know what I mean? So now these kids can play. So they're going to get a lot of playing time. Michaela Johnson may be our most athletic player, but we had so many kids, she really couldn't get on the court as much as she would have if she was elsewhere. So we have Michaela Johnson. I have another sophomore point guard who's a sophomore just like Brooklyn Vickers is, who's maybe as good as Brooklyn. She's just a little bit more quiet, and that's Rihanna Williams. I have Morgan Parker, who's a very good shooter, who didn't get a lot of time last year, who's going to get a boatload of time this year, maybe start some games. And also Maya James, who didn't get a boatload of time either. She can really shoot the ball as well. So those four are coming off the bench. They'll be good. I have a couple young bigs that we're working with that's going to be good because we need them here in the future once our bigger girls leave. And I've been lucky enough I got a 6'5" sophomore, legit 6'5", as you know, and her sister's a 6'4" senior. So they didn't play with us. They had eligibility issues the last couple of years, but now they're prime and ready to go. The 6'5" kid is a sophomore. She's going to be all right. She's going to be all right. She doesn't know what she's doing quite yet, but I'm going to let her know that she's 6'5", and she's going to let everybody know that she's 6'5" here real soon. So that's the gist of my team. As far as the schedule is concerned, it's a juggernaut. Not like him, but I won't do it this way like he did. I'm not doing that, but it's very competitive. Last year we played 14 of the top 25 teams in the Plain Dealer. We lost to the top 6, was our 6 losses. We went 18-6, and our 6 losses was against the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 team. We were in those games. Number 1 Laurel came here. We lost the game by 1 point. We lost against Medina by 4 or 5 points. We lost against Olmsted Falls at the Cavs arena. We were down 22 at halftime, cut it to 5. The second half just kind of ran out of gas. They were a top 5 team. The only team that really got us was Stowe. I think Stowe beat us by about 18. They're a really good team, well coached. I don't know how. I don't know what happened. They just lull you to sleep and kill you. It's like, what is going on here? So really good coaches, just like these coaches here on this panel. I try to year after year, I try to schedule tough. And I think I did it again this year. We have Massillon Jackson at Massillon Jackson. We'll play Mentor. I'm looking down here. We'll play Trinity. We'll play Lutheran East. We'll play Madison. We don't get to play North this year. Me and Paul don't get to go at it on the sideline this year. People don't know that me and Paul go at it on the sideline, but we don't almost text all the time, like once, twice a week. Like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? So, but we have, again, like I said, Massillon Jackson. We have, let's see here. We have it's tough. We got Gahana Lincoln coming in, who's a top team in Ohio. We have a lot of Toledo start, Bishop Hartley. We got Laurel again at the Sonny Johnson Classic. We're in a lot of classics. So we have a pretty NDCL, Perry. I mean, it's not as competitive as it might be though. It might be. Yeah. It might be, but we're just not going out of town. We got Columbus Northland coming in here. So we're just not traveling a lot. I don't want to travel a lot in COVID. But we do have people coming to us, and we are playing the top local teams, and I'm proud of it.
Excellent. First year as an independent, does that do anything? You've been used to the conference. In fact, these two gentlemen to your right, but now you're kind of off on your own a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, when I come to a conference, they got to kind of get used to me, right? So we're independent right now, but we'll be, soon here we'll be going to a conference. And with being independent, I think that I've I understand the toughness of attempting to, as you know, because you help me out a lot, schedule games, right? Especially when you're a decent team. So people can't just play, you don't have that 14. We had 14 games that we knew we could play. Now I had to schedule all 22. And sometimes when you call, it's like, hey, Brush just won the game. They're like, maybe, we'll see. We'll call you back. You know what I mean? So, and then some teams are like, hey, we have all 22, and it's like April. I'm like, you got 22 games in April? Wow. You're really ahead of the game there, So that's the hardest thing for us is to schedule on the boys' side and girls' side with who our teams are. But it's all good. It's all fun. The top teams are cool. They're like, yo, come on down and play. So we want to play the top teams anyway. It's all good.
All right, great.
Yep.
Let's travel over to the WRC now with Madison and Eastlake North. Coach, how do things look for you out there in the eastern portion of Ohio?
Well, we have 6 seniors this year, which is a change of pace. I remember coming here 2 years ago, we had 0 seniors. So I was talking to Coach at James and saying, how are we going to handle senior night? But, we have a lot of girls that started a lot of games, so I think we're going to be competitive. Riley Montagner is going to get her 1,000th point pretty early in the season. Elizabeth Botar has started games for 4 years, and we have, other girls that have started a lot of games. So that is a good place to start. I'm not playing the schedule that some of these teams play, but I don't have any 6'5" girls. I was telling Coach Forrest, I don't think we've ever had a 6-foot girl. But, our conference for us is going to be very competitive. I've talked to Coach. I think there are 7 teams in our conference. I think there are 7 teams that think they can win the conference, and I think all 7 teams are right. So for our level, I think it's going to be very competitive every night, trying to get them up for those 14 games. We still have Perry. We're playing Brush, so we do have a competitive schedule. I think it's appropriate for us. I have a veteran team, so it's nice. We don't have to teach everything. It's more relearning, going through. I remember Coach Cornerstone, Lisa was talking about 2 years ago how you start fine-tuning things, and I think we're to that point where, after they know things, we can start fine-tuning it and try to get a little bit better.
All right, and over to Eastlake, you've got at least one big hole to fill, right, as you come in, but you guys always reload.
Sure, we lost 5 seniors last year. A couple of them are playing ball. Abby Carter is playing at Akron, and then Avril Drew is playing at Edinburgh this year. So we bring back like 3 to 3.5 girls with some significant varsity level experience with us. So a lot of it has been, girls trying to identify their role, girls trying to learn the system. We're counting on 4 or 5 sophomores that, for us to play well, they can't play like sophomores. They got to be disciplined. They got to execute. We try to pride ourselves in not really being pigeonholed into any, certain type of an offensive or defensive team. Like to be able to do different things on offense, whether we're playing against man or zone or face guards or box and ones. Over the years, I've been super fortunate staff-wise. We haven't had a lot of turnover in our staff. That's so key when you're not coaching coaches every year. I think this is our 5th year having the same staff together from freshman through varsity. Prior to that, I think we had 6 or 7 years of the same. So I'm super fortunate in that aspect. But also have had some incredibly talented players. One of them was a post player. So I kind of learned some things to do when we have talented posts, a couple of shooters on the wing that I knew were going to get face guarded or double teamed, every game. So strategically, that's enabled me to kind of look back at some of those things and say, hey, what did we do for Parasco? What did we do for Engelbrecht? What did we do for Leo? What kind of things helped those girls? So our more talented scorers, whatever position they're at, sometimes I'm able to kind of put them in touch with those girls or talk with them a little bit. We have some experience at the guard position in Cece Hamilton. She'll be a senior. Dory Sakanik will be a senior. They've played a lot of varsity ball for us. We do have Kaylee Minch. She's a junior. She played at South the last couple of years. She's over playing with us this year, and she's pretty dynamic on both sides of the ball. A lot of the sophomores coming up are going to be battling for starting positions or minutes off the bench. We have a really solid defender in the junior class in Sydney Helm, and she's added to her offensive game a little bit. She had a couple double-digit games in the summer league and in the shootouts that we went to. We have 3 or 4 post players that are, battling every day for position and see who ends up getting most of the minutes. But at the post, it comes down to rebounding for us, defending, and guards are going to play for us if they can shoot it and take care of the ball. One of the big things that I look for from guard play is them taking care of the ball. I mean, if they're going to throw it to the other team 3 or 4 times a game, that makes it difficult for me to put them out there. And if they can't shoot a wide open 3-point shot accurately, it makes it difficult for me to put them out there. So we try to put stress on teams and be able to play different styles of defense, different styles of offense. So it's exciting. We just stress to them to play hard and love each other and, focus on those relationships, because 5-10 years down the road, whatever you do as a basketball player, people aren't going to remember that as much as how you made them feel every day in the locker room, every day in the school, every day on the practice court. So I really try to stress, family and loving each other.
So I got to go back to something you mentioned, traveling from south to north, right?
Yeah,
that
that's a
seems
big jump, huh?
Precarious situation. Is that like Ohio State to Michigan, or what kind of grief was she getting?
Yeah, that's big. I don't know. I stay out of all that, but I would imagine she got a little bit. But I've known her and her family for a long time. Kaylee's mother was probably the best player that my dad ever coached. My dad coached at Perry, Lake County, and Tree Ursick. She was a heck of a player, heck of a scorer. It's funny because I remember being a middle schooler and watching. Sorry to date you there, Teresa, if you're watching. But I remember being a middle schooler and watching her play. And it's funny to see Kaylee running around out there because you see some similar, tendencies. I doubt that her mom could stick with her these days, but hopefully, I just hope she knows what kind of a player her mom was back in the day, because she was fun to watch.
Great. Well, that's sort of round one, if you guys are still with me here. That was the X's and O's piece. I appreciate all that insight. That was awesome, and personnel talk. So now I'm going to change it up a little bit and kind of throw questions at you that maybe are not so much, the strategies of the game, but other aspects that still are worth thinking about. So, Coach McNamara, my question for you would be, I want you to pretend like you were in an interview, like an actual interview for a position. So this one comes as, if you were ever asked, why are you interested in the head basketball position at such and such a place, and what makes you the ideal candidate, what would you say for us?
That's a little tough, only because I think over my time in the game, it's changed so much. Mm-hmm. 18 years ago, when I got into girls basketball, I was a football coach and transitioned over because my daughter was in 4th grade and wanted to play basketball. And I got into it because I think I just wanted to be a dad, to be closer with his daughter and spend more time with her. And what I didn't realize over the time is that 18 years later, there needs to be less of guys like me and more of the young ladies sitting over to my right, because this is a girls' game. And I think ultimately the girls will lead the game properly. In no disrespect to, my time into the game, Coach Damaris and everybody other men that are up here. But, I think if you're going to lead the charge, we have to do so that we can create a culture to lead that charge. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I always tell every kid that plays for me, every girl in AAU or in high school, is I can promise you I think I know a lot. Many people will tell you I know nothing. But the only guarantee is I don't know what it's like to be a 15-year-old girl. And there's a lot of bravado that gets taken away over 18 years. And I've watched a lot of things happen. I've seen a lot of things happen. I've seen a lot of changes in the game. I've seen this turn into, and I've heard a couple of these classics and showcases. They're always led by men. I'm dying to find the girl, the female, the woman to take charge and develop that part of basketball in this area. Because unless you're a realist, and I like to tend to speak truthfully and openly, basketball in Cleveland is not very good. Basketball around Ohio is very good. But in Columbus and Dayton, that's where they tend to do the most. Akron-Hoban is probably one of those cream of the crop teams that are around here, led by a fantastic coach and a woman. And, I think that once that starts to happen, that's the way we change the game. That's the way you can affect the game. And while I love every minute I've spent on the court at Trinity and for my AAU program and the thousands of girls that have played for me, along with Coach Damaris' daughter, Coach Winter's daughter, who's played for me, it's that answer's changed over 18 years. And I'm real hopeful that within my time before when it is that I go, that, you know, somebody else will step up as a female, because now my daughter, who 18 years ago was a player, she's a coach at Midview High School, Division I school out in Lorain County. And I look at it upon her to take over that part and her role in the game as well. So a little bit different, a little long-winded, but I think it kind of shares a point.
It's okay. That's okay. Coach Stopp, so how does your philosophy as a coach align with education as well? I mean, you know, when you're in the NBA, that's not even a factor. And when you're in the NCAA, they've got so many people to watch this, that, and the other. But in your position, it seems like you've got to be multiple roles for these kids. So how do you make sure that the basketball is being taken care of, but also the academic piece?
That's a great question, because it really does encompass all that. This is a ministry for me, so I don't know how it is with other coaches, but this is my ministry. So this is my faith is important to me. I'm in a school where faith is important. And so that like gets on the table first. And so I try to encourage kids in their faith and teach them a little bit about what I know. And not everybody has to believe in that, but that's really at my core. And then everything stems from that. And this year it's different with a lot of different kids. I mean, their home stories are different than other kids I'm used to coaching. And I'll be honest with you, my heart's breaking with it. But it's exciting for me because I feel like I could be, obviously a minister there in one sense. Coach, we've talked about that before. Coach Winters saying the role. I want to be a role model. You know, you touched upon it a little bit. But like one of the reasons, I wear sweats a lot, but game day, I dress up and I tell my husband, and my husband's my assistant coach. I want them to see, we can be a really competitive person, but we can be a young lady too. And so that's an important role for me. So I try to dress up. It's not about me. It's more about just setting an example. This is going to sound silly too, and maybe it's not really your question, but my husband's around. I have no problem just give him a hug and give him a quick kiss in front of the girls and say, don't settle. You want a guy that loves you and that respects you, and that it's neat because my husband serves me as an assistant. So those are kind of, I guess, things that maybe not every coach thinks of, but with me and the ministry part of it, that's it. An educator, we're with these kids. I don't know what your practices are like, but I had a couple 3-hour, 2.5 hour, 3 hour. You're with them more than a teacher. And then you're with them if mom's not picking them up on time, and you have those 15 minutes where you're just talking to them. There's all sorts of times to build into them. And I'll be honest, that's why I coach. And I'll make this quick, but the reason why I coach today is because I had a coach that built into me. I had a mom that was depressed. And in 7th grade, 8th grade, I had no idea who I was. All I know is my dad was taking care of my mom. All the kids were going different direction. And I had a coach at Ridge Junior High. I was a mentor kid. Ness Janiak, who's the quarterback coach for the football team. I just retired last year. That just took care of me and wrote things in my book. And I was a words of affirmation. Everything he said, I held on to. Everything he said, I wrote down. And I remember him telling, you can do whatever you want to do. And I remember thinking, I want to get a scholarship. And I got a Division I scholarship. Oh, I want to do this. Because one guy believed in me. And so I want to be that person in these kids' life. And that's what cranks my motor. Trust me, we've had 3 of the 6 teams last 6 years have gone to state. That's pretty cool. That's really cool, right? Yep. But this is what cranks my motor, and this is why I can still coach when everybody's like, wait, you've got kids transferring out, and you're fighting for kids. You got 11 kids left, 2 left. I want to make a difference in their life. That's what cranks my motor, and that's why I'm here. So I hope that answers your question.
That is a great answer. Great answer. Coach Kreider, so your definition, nobody else's, but your definition about what a really good high school coach needs to have as far as characteristics, attributes, what makes that good coach?
Patience. I mean, as a coach, you're a sister, the auntie, the mother. Not only the coach, you wear so many hats and capes, and you have to be able to talk to them on their level. Demand excellence, but forgive them when they mess up. Work with them. They baby still. They still want to be hugged. They want high fives. They want to know that they're doing good. Because a lot of them don't get that at home. With that being said, you got to do that with developing. You got to be able to develop kids and have the patience to understand they're not going to get it the first day. You're going to do the same thing for a whole month. Then try something new and go back to what you did last month. Because they probably forgot it.
Right.
So, like I said, patience is key. Take your time with them and love them. You got to love them. Because if you love them and they believe that you love them, they'll run through a wall for you.
That's awesome. And now too, with the whole, and I don't want to get all political, but with the pandemic and all of us going through that, I'm sure that puts a different light on, what their needs are, what they lost for those 18 months or longer. Have you seen a difference on the other side of the pandemic than a year and a half ago, or have the kids changed at all? In your opinion?
The crazy part about it is that being a Senate team, it's the same. It didn't look different. And that's sad. It's very sad. And we have to perform miracles every year. Like, you really have to perform miracles. And it looks the same. Hopefully next year something changes in the Senate. But for my program, it's the same. Only thing is different is that they happy to get back on the court and play. So I'm holding them accountable. Now, there's online for school all year. So now they're back in the classroom. So I have to make sure that we have study table. I have to make sure that, they find that time to do that work, because John Hay is a hard school. Like science and medicine, early college, like everything's honors there. And most of my kids, they have an A, or a B minus. Their parent be like, they can't come to practice.
Wow.
So that's about it for me.
Okay. All right. That was plenty. So, Coach, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. So, you're coaching, you're halfway through your season, and a parent comes up to you and says, not only should her child have more playing time, but, specifically calls out maybe one of the starters and says, my kid's better than that. And they're a little worked up, and they've seen half a season, and now it's like they put it on you. What do you do with that parent?
Well, first of all, I hope it's not a game day.
Yeah.
Respect my 24-hour rule. But, I am not opposed to ever having conversations with parents about playing time. The first thing I do is I encourage them to go talk to their daughter, because I am a practice equals minutes. If you give me 100% effort, then you will see the benefits of your hard work. If you come to practice and you go in the trainer every 5 minutes, my knee, my back, my eye, my finger, then you go right ahead, because when Coach Battle says, okay, every kid in my program knows what that means. Next man up. So if you put in the hard work, you're definitely going to get the time. I always encourage parents, if you would like to sit down, we can go over game film, and I can speak specifically to your daughter, and I can tell you things that she needs to do. Because at the end of the day, what I'm trying to prepare the kids for is life after me. What's going to happen when you leave Cleveland Heights High School? Whether you go play at D1, a JUCO, a D3, or you go and get a job, there are certain things that you must adhere to. I have expectations, you have expectations in life. So I try to make sure everything that we do in our practices and in our games transfer into real life. And I'll tell the parent the same thing. You can't come to me talking about expectations, if your daughter is not passing English. So we need to be on the same page with that first, because I also put academics first. Right. I will suspend kids over winter break for having a D, when I know that we have study tables 3 times a week. So we start there. Have a conversation with your daughter. Ask your daughter what's going on before you come kind of blowing down on me, because I'm going to give you straight facts. And I don't hold back in that situation, because, we all have to answer to someone. Mm-hmm. And if you want to come to me and talk about it, you have to be ready to hear the hard truths. So.
Well done, well done. Coach, I'm going to put you in a little bit of a spot, too. You are halfway, 3/4 through a season. You've hit a little bit of a losing streak, maybe 4 or 5 games. Couple kids get hurt, and the morale starts dropping a little bit. On top of that, we have our Cleveland weather. By about February, everyone's tired of that. So what do you do to kind of say, whoa, we got to right the ship here and turn this thing around? What do you reach into your bag for to kind of salvage the season, if you will?
I mean, that's a great question because I experienced that last year. I lost majority of my games last year. My goal going in was to be better than the year before, and I did that. Well, we did that. But, I mean, injuries, grades. Mind you, I only had 8 bodies. So facing injuries, I was an athletic trainer. And when I say I mean taping ankles before games, thanks to my Cleveland Heights education, I was a trainer in high school, so I still have those skills. And I'm talking doing therapy sessions while running practice. So it's, all right, I need you to do these hip lifts over here, 5 minutes, let me know when you reach 50, and then I'll come back and we'll do this. So, I mean, that's something that I did, and we made it through with 8 bodies. I actually had a point guard who was injured in a game that she came to the game after her grandfather's funeral. Shocked me, didn't think she was coming. Showed up, twisted her ankle in the game. Rehabbed her all week. She turned out and played in the showcase at Lutheran East against St. Martin de Porres. She won MVP of that game in so much pain to the point where she was crying in the locker room after the game. I'm definitely gonna miss that girl. One of my biggest headaches, but one of my hardest workers. So that was something that I lived last year. So I can't say, or let you know what I would do differently because it'll be the same thing. Personal trainer.
But mainly just, keep up with the encouragement, right? Tell them
Yep.
there's a better day ahead, that kind of thing. So,
Right.
okay, all right. So then my next question would be, if you could, Coach, kind of describe your communication style. I mean, obviously there's different ways to get across to players, and even within one locker room, I don't think any of you probably practice a one-size-fits-all. It probably depends on the player, and maybe one needs a pat on the back, one needs a kick in the behind, but how do you describe your communication style, whether winning, losing, and the whole program?
Yeah, as far as communicating, we have 4 meetings a year. So we'll have a meeting with every girl individually after tryouts. So that's our first meeting. Then our second meeting is about halfway through the season, so winter break. Then we'll have another meeting with everyone individually after the season, and then we'll have one at the end of the summer. So we constantly have conversations and meetings with our girls individually. So we do it 4 times a year. We have a parent contract that goes home after tryouts that we explain what their role is at that time. It can always change, of course, with injuries or whatever it may be, or earning that time or passing someone up. And if those roles do change, we'll have that conversation and meeting with them. And we just really preach transparency. Any type of competitive drills that we have, we keep scores and we post them in our newsletter every month to the parents and to the kids. So I really try and stress transparency in our program of what's going on. And it's all the way from K through 12. Anyone that wants to subscribe to the newsletter, it's free. It's not, I shouldn't say subscribe, but you know what I mean. You
Right,
just send me
right.
your email address and we'll get you all the information that's happening K through 12, whether it's our Little Dribblers program for grades K through 3 or whatever. So transparency is a big one, and I think once that's built, then the trust starts to build, and the girls know that you have it in their best interest. The parents know that you have it in their best interest. So that's something that I pride myself on. And yes, there's some girls that you can push harder than others, and being around them, 10 out of the 12 months, you can know who those are, and so that's the biggest thing. And a lot of the coaches do these team bonding things. We do them too, and that's where you really get to see what triggers them, what doesn't, what you can say, and joke around with them. All those. That's what those team bondings do for our coaching staffs too. Is you really get to know the girls and what makes them tick and what doesn't. So.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Coach White, you're in a little bit different situation as you described because you're trying to build a little bit, but you've been other places, and so I'm curious about your philosophy on what a good JV and freshman program can mean to a high school program, and also a little bit of a question B, what do you look for in a good assistant coach as you are trying to develop a program?
Well, the first thing, this is a different situation because it's a situation I'm excited about. We don't feel like, I feel like your program's not built when they get to high school. Your program's not built when they get to middle school. Your program's built at second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You know, a lot of times when we have our kids, and then when they come to middle school, kids already have 3 or 4 years of making a right-hand layup, making a left-hand layup. We're trying to teach that in the middle school. So I've seen both sides of it, and I think that the younger age groups will start. That's how you build your program. You know, as everybody knows, I had my daughter Kayla, and she played in Twinsburg, and which gave her a bigger jump on most kids because she played there from 3rd grade all the way to 9th grade. So some of the basic fundamentals that you teach them at a young age. So when you get to the middle school, that coach is not focusing on that. So our biggest thing over at Richmond Heights is that we started this year. We do second through 6th grade. We do twice a week, and we had our kids come in from 5:30 to 6:30, totally free program, and hopefully we can build from there and have travel teams, and that will build our middle school team. That will eventually build our high school program. Can you please say the second part of that question again?
Well, as far as assistant coaches,
And
what do
assistant
you need
coaches.
from them to kind of, be coaches?
You want consistent coaches who are confident in who they are. You know, I can be very strong-minded. I will admit that. It took me some time to learn to admit it, but I can be very strong-minded. You know, it's like, this is where I want to do it, this is where I want to do it. But like I said, over the past couple of times, over the last 6-7 months, some things have changed in my life that made me see things a little different. So you want strong-minded, somebody who's not going to back down to you as an assistant coach. And when you have that assistant coach, then that coach will grow just as much as you will grow, and to the point where they are setting themselves up for future jobs or getting jobs. Honestly, I always said this, I don't want assistant coaches who want to be assistant JV coaches or be a JV head coach their whole career. If you don't have a goal to be a head coach, then you're just going to do average stuff and be okay with that. So I try to get coaches around me that want to be a head varsity coach, and if you can get that to happen, those coaches usually strive, and then they go to their own program and they build the way they want to, and that's the beauty of it. But maybe they take some things that you showed them, and they take it and they do it in their program.
Okay.
So that's what I think. I need a strong assistant coach. I don't need pushovers. So if you're not strong, because I'm strong-minded, I'm here. I may not want to go here. I've been watching Mel Burke for a long time, and so I seen that. So I learned some things from him that I'm trying to get out of my life.
Very well said.
Coach, I'm going to expand a little bit on what Coach White was talking about. What is your feeling over all these years of coaching as far as the youth? How would you, if they said you're the director of youth basketball for our community, and maybe you have been that at times, but how important is it to have a really solid, and like Coach said, I'm not talking middle school, but 1st grade, 2nd grade, on up?
That's 80% of the battle. I kind of use grass as my example of coaching kids. If you don't take care of your lawn, you got a real bad lawn. You're not watering your grass and cutting your grass and feeding it the energy that's needed with the vitamins, whatever that you use in your grass, you'll have bad grass. So what I try to do is, I've been told by the Special Jennings and the Barbara Turners and the Gentile Lavenders that I changed, because when they come home, my communication is different. Because when you don't want to turn a kid away from a sport, So to answer your question, the delivery from K through 3 is different. It's okay to drop a ball. It's okay. I'm kind of a stickler for keeping your head up, keep trying. I do not want a kid to ever give up, but I want them to be okay with the effort thing, and it starts with that, because nobody comes out. One of my other examples is when you were a baby. Look how you walk now. You used to fall every 3 steps, but you kept trying to walk. Now you're walking well, you can run and all that. So there is a starting point, and I think each age and grade, the communication, like all the coaches said about being college ready and getting to the college level, to me, that's in stages. Because you can turn a kid away with the language, the style that you have, who may love the sport, but everybody's temperament, everybody's toughness are not the same. So you got to deliver the mail to different houses in different ways.
I like that. I'm going to put that one down if you don't mind. Coach Winters, if you could describe the importance of practice and maybe what your ideal practice would be like. Do you have a standard? Do you have a goal for those practices when you go in?
Mm-hmm. So I think that's a great question. I think it varies from summertime practice. I think summer is when I tell my kids our summertime, the short times that we can get together. In the summertime, what we're doing is we're kind of investing, right? So we're putting money in the bank. Then we're learning left-hand dribbles. We're basically training. Skills and drills, skills and drills, skills and drills. And then also we do a lot in the summer, as you know. We go to the zoo, we go bowling, we go skating, we hang with each other, we go to movies, we go to my daughter's games. We're at AAU games for all the other kids. We're together, so we're building that rapport, that camaraderie as a team in the summertime. So those practices look like skills and drill sessions, pretty much, and a little bit of open gym. So then when you get to the season and those games, you can kind of go to the bank and take the money out and buy what you need to buy. You can do what you need to do because you put that money in the bank in the summertime. Right. So those summertime practices look a little bit different than our practices during the season, depending on who we're going against. If I'm going against Paul Force, it's going to be like a 4-hour practice because he knows everything about me. He's calling my plays out on the sideline that I already know. I mean, it's some really good coaches on this panel that I've went against. They beat me sometime, I beat them sometime, and it's just so. To answer your question, it depends on who we're playing. We're practicing towards that team that we're going against. We've scouted it. My staff and I, who's excellent. We've scouted that team. We've looked at the strengths and weaknesses that team has, and we go to practice that. We also practice. Not to give away any secrets, but we practice pressing. Everyone up here knows that I pressure the ball. So we practice that about 30 minutes every practice, right? So we practice that, and we practice getting up and down, fast breaking. What we have to improve upon, being transparent for me, if we want to get to where I think we can get to in this program, we have to be able to execute in a half-court set on a consistent basis against good teams. We're not going to be able to run up and down every single game against every single team. Especially, I tell my kids when those first two tournament games are over, the quote-unquote good teams are only left. It's all good teams after those first two rounds of the tournament, regardless of where you are, whatever number you are. After those first 2 rounds, you're going against a good team. And we have to be able to execute on a consistent basis. We do a pretty good job, but we need to do an A+ job. We're going to go against taller kids, bigger kids, stronger kids. You know, once you get down to that, you have to be able to hear me and understand what we're doing on a half-court set, defensively and offensively. But for me, you know, we play pretty good defense, but offensively we have to execute. So that's an area of opportunity for us, and we practice that a lot going towards the playoffs. If I could say one thing to expound upon what they were talking about at first about these programs not having enough resources, so to speak, in order to push behind the programs, whether it's CMS, whether it's inner city or East Cleveland, whatever it may be. Listen, these kids are still these girls, and I'm talking girls basketball here. I don't think we'll ever be boys basketball, right? So I think we all understand that physically how we're built or whatever it may be. Socially, it's just people are used to the boys' game, right? But we can't be the best girls basketball. You can be the best girls basketball school that you can be, right? Resources. There are resources that you look at. Here, we do a great job. Dr. Reed, both of our assistant superintendents, our boys basketball coach, Chet Mason, they all are behind me in this program. I know everyone doesn't have that, but you can have that. If they wanted to do it, you can do it. Be behind your girls basketball program. These young ladies are still part of your student body. This is part of your district. You don't turn your back on them. You don't give them no practice time. I'm hearing people tell me they can't get in the gym all summer. That hurts me. So what if my daughter couldn't get in the gym all summer? She would never be who she was, right? So I think we need to do a better job. Some schools, I don't know who they are, but we need to do a better job of supporting the girls just like you support the boys. Here at Brush, I get basically the same things Chet get. I don't even have to fight for it, right? They get that, we get this. And I think it should be that way across the board. I know they don't get, we get resources here. They may not get the resources that we get, but you can get the resources that you get. And if you don't have them, go get them. You're a system. You can do it. And if not, give me a call. I'll help out. I'm a big advocate on girls basketball. As everyone knows here, I'll help anybody at this table. I'll help any other school system when it comes to anything, really, especially girls basketball. So there's a lot of resources that I can get my hands on. If you don't know, give us a call. That's it.
Excellent. Coach, I've always been kind of interested. I've never been a coach myself on this level. So I'm interested in how you handle the tryout process, and then when you have to invariably cut or reject some of the young ladies. How do you approach that? Because that can't be an easy situation.
Well, I really don't have that issue this year. Our numbers are a little down. I know as a boys coach, it was easy. I'd have 20 freshmen out. I'd keep running them until I had 12 left. It was simple. Back in the day, you could do that because, everyone wanted to play. Our former coach Smith said that basketball is hard, and I thought, no, basketball is fun. But now the more I coach, and as being a head coach, basketball is hard. And we're not to the point where we're worried about tryouts or cutting. I mean, we have been beating the halls, to get kids out. We put on a summer camp last year, 1 through 6, 1 through 8 actually. That's the thing. Right now we're kind of in that building process too. We have a couple girls that tried out that never touched a basketball before. And Lisa, if you have any ideas, I'd like to hear them because it's tough. But I think that's where we are right now. So cutting is, I wish I had that problem.
Then sort of a follow-up would be, do you feel this is a cyclical situation, or is, high school, girls basketball, high school sports, is it going in a scary direction, or is this just a natural up and down sort of flow?
Well, I think some people aren't going to like this answer, but I think there are a lot of AAU and JO coaches in other sports that don't care. My friend, he was a big guy. He had a tall wife. He had a child. He goes, I don't want my kids playing football until the coaches get paid. I think there are a lot of coaches out there in other sports that are saying, you have to do my sport all year. And Spire is a tremendous facility, but I'll tell you that has been trouble for Lake County because a lot of those girls go out there. There are coaches out there that all they want to do is they want to have 15 girls on their JL, whatever team it is, and they don't care about the school. They don't care about the school sports. All they care about is themselves. And that might not make me popular, but so I don't know if it's cyclical, and it's something we got to rebound from because I've already had girls that say, I don't want to play basketball because I have soccer or I have volleyball or I have a softball. And I'm like, do you know who Alyssa Ladvis was? She was a pretty darn good softball. You are not as good a softball player as she was, and she managed to do 2 sports, okay? And I think until we get these girls to believe that they can be multi-sport athletes, we're in trouble. And Madison's best year back in the 90s, we had a group of girls, you probably remember Brainerd and all those girls, they were district finalists in volleyball, they won the district in basketball, they won the district in softball. It was the same group of girls. And we need girls that want to do multiple sports and believe that it's going to help them. And coaches that encourage it. Good point, Coach.
Excellent answer. Excellent. So, Coach, I'm going to ask you, and we've.
Real quick, I wanted to add when I spoke about the support for our girls, as far as our superintendent, both our assistant superintendents and Coach Mason. Also along those lines is our principal, Carl Williamson. He's excellent at supporting the girls as well. I don't want to leave him out. I'm sorry.
And so, Coach, I wanted to ask you, we've covered a lot of the X's and O's, and we've
Sure.
covered different styles of basketball. So as you approach another new year, I've got to think that in your mind it's, okay, yes, I want these people to excel on the court. But what do you also feel you're teaching them along the journey? So as the season plays out, what do you feel you give to them that will go over and above the basketball piece of it?
Yeah, it was just a big life lessons type of a culture we try to create. You know, we try to, establish a family-like atmosphere. My wife and my kids are in the gym all the time. You know, I like to think that we demonstrate to them kind of what Coach Stopp was talking about, demonstrate to them what, you know, a two-parent household could look like and how we treat each other and how we treat our kids, because not all kids today are coming from, you know, that kind of environment. And how to deal with things when you don't get what you want, you know, how to deal with struggles and challenges, and most importantly, you know, support the people that are around you. You know, when you do great things, you want to have people there feeling good for you and celebrating you. When you go through challenges as a player, as a student, as a person, you want to look to your left and look to your right and see that there's other people there that are with you. You know, so it's just a big emphasis of what we try to talk about is the relationships and the people, and keeping that stuff in your heart. You know, every game before we step out there, you know, I always kind of take a moment during the national anthem to close my eyes, and I encourage the girls, you know, just think about all the people in your life that have believed in you, that have driven you to practice, that have shown up to your games, that have watched you play on a live stream because they couldn't get a ticket during COVID. You know, like when you step out on the floor, those people should be in your head, those people should be in your heart. You know, and if you can't give all you got with those people in your heart, then, you know, maybe you're not in the right sport. You're certainly not on the right team if you're playing for the Rangers, you know. So just the life lessons and the people. You know, there's people that believe in you, and there's people that have supported you, and hopefully you're that person, you know, for a little girl that's up in the stands watching you right now.
Well, it's a fantastic answer, and it's a great place, I think, to stop. I could go on all night. I love hearing all of your